Welcome to this podcast series, coming courtesy of Silver Wattle Quaker Centre, located in central New South Wales, on the edge of Weereewa, or Lake George, the largest freshwater lake in Australia. We acknowledge and give thanks for First Nations groups' care of country. We commit to its ongoing care. I'm Anne Zubrick, a member of the Silver Wattle Board. Here is Introducing Early Quakers, Episode 5, Mary Fisher, 1623 to 1698. Narrated by Michael Corbett.
Of Mary Fisher, born 1623, died 1698. Mary Fisher was born in Yorkshire and worked as a housemaid for the Tomlinson family in a town called Selby. She was 28 years old when in late December 1651, she heard the ministry of George Fox given to the Tomlinson family and servants. The message from George Fox affected her deeply, and as a result became a convinced friend, which led her to become an active Quaker. She is counted amongst the group of early itinerant preachers and missionaries named as the Valiant 60, spreading the spiritual message and preaching the Quaker faith. In 1652, Mary, as a Quaker publisher of truth, was rebuked publicly by the vicar of the church in Selby in an address to his congregation after the service. She was imprisoned in York Castle and later in that year was confined there along with 5 other Quakers who had joined in publishing the pamphlet, False Prophets and False Teachings Described, which urged people to leave the state church and draw on the inner light. She was imprisoned again on 1653 and 1654 for more offences against the church in York. In December, Mary and her companion, Elizabeth Williams, walked to Cambridge, about 285 kilometres or 180 miles, to further the Quaker drive to preach their Quaker message in the south of England. They reprimanded the student theologians at Sydney Sussex College with their aversion to organised religion extended to the colleges where ministers were trained. The mayor issued an order that they were to be taken to the Market Cross under the pretext they were vagabonds. They were stripped to the waist and became the first Quakers to be publicly and brutally whipped for their ministry. Mary was imprisoned again in 1655 for rebuking the priest of Newport Pagnell. Mary and another Quaker preacher, Anne Austin, sailed to the New World in 1655 to spread the Quaker message and were subsidised in their mission by funds from other Quakers. The first port of call was in Barbados in the Caribbean, where they were well received and were able to convert the Lieutenant Governor of Barbados to Quakerism. On the 11th of July, 1656, they became the first Quakers to visit the English North American colonies, arriving in Boston. There they met the fierce hostility from the Puritan population, and the Deputy Governor, Richard Bellingham, as the news of the apparent heretical and blasphemous views of the Quakers had preceded them. On arrival, they were taken ashore, imprisoned, forced to undress in public, and their bodies were intimately examined for signs of witchcraft. Anne Austen reported that one of the female searchers was a man in a woman's clothes. Their books were taken and burned by the Boston hangman. Nicholas Upsall, a local innkeeper, offered to pay their fines if he was permitted to speak with them in prison. The magistrates, who had ordered the prison windows to be boarded up to isolate them, refused Upsall's request, the intention being to starve them to death. Upsall bribed the warder with money so that he could get food to the two women, saving their lives. Mary and Anne were then deported after 5 weeks of imprisonment back to Barbados, only being able to share their faith with anyone except Upsall, who became the first North American Puritan to convert to Quakerism. Both women returned to England in 1657. In spite of all her time spent in prison, whippings and harsh treatments, Mary was not deterred from her leading as a missionary. In 1658, she and 5 other Quakers sailed through the Mediterranean to visit the Ottoman Empire, where she could expand her Quaker faith. When they arrived in Smyrna, she asked the British consul how to contact Sultan Mahmud IV and was told this would be unwise. When he could not change their mind, he put them on a boat to Venice rather than Turkey. Whilst at sea, Mary realised this and asked the captain to land her on the coast of Greece. She then travelled alone, on foot, across Macedonia and Bulgaria, crossing into Turkey and onto the town of Edirne in northwest Turkey. Mary met with the Grand Vizier and asked to arrange an audience for her with the Sultan, describing herself as an ambassador of the Most High God. According to her account, the Sultan received her ministry, testifying to the universal light. Sultan Mahmud IV offered her an armed escort, which she declined, and she made her way back to Istanbul and then back to England. Her experience in a Muslim country compared to her experiences in Christian countries left a deep impression. In 1662, Mary married William Bailey from Poole, a seafarer and Quaker preacher who had been converted by George Fox. William died on a voyage from Barbados in 1675. She then married John Cross at Southwark in 1678, and with 3 children from her first marriage, moved to Charleston, South Carolina. John died there in 1687. Mary died in 1698 and is buried in the Quaker burial ground in Charleston. Mary wrote about her audience with the Sultan Mehmed IV as follows: "Now returned to England, I have borne my testimony for the Lord before the king unto whom I was sent, and he was very noble unto me, and so were all the people about him. They dread the name of God. There is a royal seed amongst them, which in time God will raise. They are more the truth than many nations. There's a love begot in me towards them which is endless. But it is my hope concerning them that he who raised me to love them more than others will also arise his seed in them unto which my love is. Nevertheless, though they may be called Turks, the seed of them is near to God, and their kindness has shown some measure towards his servant." If you visit quakertapestry.co.uk and search Mary Fisher to view a panel which reads, "Mary Fisher, one of the many women of publishers of truth. The world, east and west, was their parish, for God's Spirit dwelt in every man." You can also Google The Examination, painted by T.H. Matteson in 1863.
We hope these stories inspire and inform you. You can explore more about Silver Wattle's retreats and learning opportunities, both in person and online, at silverwattle.org.au.